Everyone wants to change the system, but yet it never changes. It only changes form. And the consequences of those systems only transfer to another group. I have two questions. Why is it that the very systems we hate are so self-sustaining and seemingly irreversible? And two, why do our most prolific leaders get taken out at the height of their impact and leadership? Today, we'll be discussing the difference between realm authors and system reinforcers, why the realm authors need to wake up, and why system reinforcers need to align themselves with those authors to not make change, but completely transform reality's governing logic by reinforcing their authored realms instead. Hi, I'm Naomi Olatayo, the Brand Priestess, and I awaken founders and high-ranked leaders to their governance. Here we talk about brand strategy and architecture for empire building and realm authoring. If you haven't already, or if this video resonates with you, click the link in the description to download my free audio transmission titled From Leadership to Governance, Recognizing Your Unclaimed Jurisdiction. This is a free 35-minute audio for prolific leaders and founders to listen to when they realize that the cost of operating beneath their true authority has become too expensive to justify. Anyways, let's get started in today's video. Oh, I should say, if you haven't watched my YouTube video titled What is Governance? What it really means to have the jurisdiction of a governor, I need you to click the link down below to watch that video first, because what I'm sharing in this video is a governing principle, and this video builds off of that one. But yeah, now we're going to get into today's video. Here is one law of governance. You can only transform what you own. If you don't own it, the most you can ever do is influence or impact an already existing realm. So that means if you don't own a system, a realm, a community, a government, a power yourself, you are a reinforcer. And this is why it's so hard to change systems. Think of ourselves. We ourselves are a system. When you don't own something, you can't change it. You can only influence it. System reinforcers work within realms, systems, and industries to make them stronger, more pliable, more real. They don't create. Their only jurisdiction is over the people and systems that they have influence over. For example, pastors don't own the Bible or the faith belief system. They can only lead and influence according to those rules. Or the president, they don't own the country. It's not theirs. They can only influence and make change within the law system for their 4-year term. Another example, renters don't own their homes. They can only make superficial changes. And lastly, homeowners may own the land, but the land is already governed by their state and nation's laws. Some of us even have HOA. So even though you might own the home, it's not yours because there are laws that can overrule you in some instances. And also you have to give credence to the laws that are already governing the land that you own. So system reinforcers are your C-suites, your thought leaders, your celebrities, your teachers, the religious leaders, the people who make up the system, the people who are actively breeding engagement with certain systems and industries and cultures, et cetera, et cetera. This would also be like your entertainers, et cetera. So because they can only reinforce what exists, their rebellion and resistance of those systems only delays inevitables or the transfer of consequence, or the consequence evolves into another form. To give an example, Professor Young's Capitalism is the Perfection of Slavery speech that he gave is what really helped me bring words to this part of the video. I do believe capitalism is the perfection of slavery. Slavery never ended, it was just transitioned. Even in a more specific example, like a more cultural example, look at the way that our Black children are treated throughout the diaspora, not even just in America, but just everywhere. That was not original to us, yet we see its lasting impact there. For a long time, a lot of adults were harmed and A lot of that effects is given to the children. And then not even from that lens, but in the past, you had to punish people physically. You had to punish our Black ancestors physically to get them to work, to enforce their dominance on you. But then now we put them in cubicles, we put them in the workforce. It's still the same concept, it's just different. The consequence just got delayed. The inevitables got delayed. And the consequence itself just turned into a different form, but the effects are still the same. You see what I'm trying to say? We're all governed by realms that produce certain outcomes. The logic that produced the systems that change the outcomes have to change in order for outcomes to change. And that's why there's a difference between people who reinforce realms and people who author them, the realm authors. And those are the governors. They are the ones with the jurisdiction to completely restructure the origin logic. They aren't the ones who are trying to reorganize a broken system. They are the ones with the conceptual awareness and capacity and bandwidth to imagine a completely different operating logic, not a completely different system. Systems are outcomes. Industries are outcomes. Communities are outcomes. Jail is an outcome. Slavery is an outcome. The school system as it is right now is an outcome. We look to the government, but the government is also an outcome. We're all governed by an original governing logic. And governors are the ones who can sense the origin logic and then build, not in opposition, not as a reaction or response to it, but according to a governing logic that does not move against our sovereignty, that does not move against our personal authority, our agency. That's heaven's order. Governors create realms, the origin logic, and they build according to it. This is why you have your multi-venture vision. You thought it was just a bunch of random ideas. No, it was covering ground so that you could become the lighthouse, originator, blueprint, so that people can realign themselves with the proper order. They don't reorganize systems, they completely change the governing logic. How do they do this? This is something that I teach to my apprentices. Is that how you say it? I don't know. Well, the people who work with me, my clients, my partners. I teach the art and law of realm governance. I have an upcoming 8-month apprenticeship program. If you would like to be made aware of when this program goes live, you can click the link down below titled Free Audio Transmission from Leadership to Governance, Recognizing Your Unclaimed Jurisdiction. Not only will you get this free audio to get a deeper understanding of your true jurisdiction as a governor instead of a leader, but you'll also be first to be notified about any threshold opportunities and also this 8-month program. And if I also teach realm governance and things alike for my one-on-one clients. So if you have a company, an empire, whatever, I would like for you to click the link down below to the internal reckoning, which is my pay discernment threshold. Together, we will realign your entire expanse of infrastructure to mirror not just the vision that God has given you, but your jurisdiction, and we'll create the blueprints for you to enact your governance in real time. But anyways, I thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.